Namaste students. हमेशा खुश रहो बेटिया. I am JVM Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakya Tantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. Today in this session we will discuss the Karn Rog. ठीक है? We will discuss the chapter which treats of the cause and symptoms of the disease peculiar to the ear, that is the organ of hearing. It is known as a Karnagat Rog Vigyaniya. First we'll discuss the classification of Karn Rog. So 28 different forms of ear diseases are noticed in practice. The Kernschul, earache, pranad, ringing or noise in the ear, Badhirya, deafness, shade, Karnsrav, discharge of pus, etc. from the ear, Karnkandu, itching in the ear, Karngooth, creamy Karn, vermin infested ears, Pratinaha, the two kinds of Vitriti, local abscess, Karnpak, secretion of ear, Toothy Karn, fetor in the ear, four kinds of Arshas, cyst or polyps in the ear, seven kinds of Arput tumor, and four kinds of Shove, that is swelling. Then comes the symptoms of Kernschul and Pranad. The violent aching pain in the region of the ear and inside the tympanum caused by the deranged local vayu, aggravated and obstructed by the other deranged doshas in the locality, is called the Kernschul or earache. Ringing and various other sounds in the ear are heard when the deranged vayu of the locality gets into the wrong way and remains there stuck in the sound carrying channels of the organ. This disease is called the pranal. Then the symptoms of Vadhirya and Shwed. Vadhirya deafness results from the continuance in the sound carrying channels of the deranged local vayu in combination with the deranged local cough in those localities without any way being remedied or subdued. An attack of Kernschwed expressing a peculiar sound in the ear may be attributed to such causes so as to the use of any cold thing or exposure to cold after being treated with a head purging remedy or to the continuance of the deranged local vayu in the sound passage aggravated by excessive labor, by any wasting process in the system, or by taking articles of fear of astringent taste or of parching or ruksh property. Then the symptoms of Karnsrav and Karnkandu. Regarding Karnsrav, any discharge or secretion of pus from the ear caused by the deranged bodily vayu stuffing the ear cavity, owing to a blow on the head, or a long immersion in water, or a spontaneous suppression and bursting of an abscess in the inner ear is called Karnsrav. What is Karnkandu? The excessive itching sensation in the ear due to the aggravation of local cough is called Karnkandu. The symptoms of Karngooth and Karnpratinaha. Any mucus accumulation in the ear dried and hardened by the heat of the local pith is called Karngooth. When the dried accumulation of the ear in cases of Karngooth becomes liquefied and comes out through the cavity of the nose and produces head disease, it is called Karnpratinaha. Next Karn is creamy Karn. Germination of vermins or of other local parasites in the cavities of the ear completely impairs the faculty of hearing and is called cremicern from the existence of worms in the ear. And any abscess caused by any local ulcer or by a blow, as well as by any idiopathic abscess in the cavity of the ear, is known as Karnvitriti. It is marked by a chalked and burning sensation and piercing and sucking pain, and it secretes red, yellow, reddish, bloody discharges. Next disease is Kernpark, a process of suppression setting in any of these valves in the ear through the aggravated condition of the deranged pith is marked by a blocked and putrid condition of the passage of the ear. The disease is called Kernpark or the suppression of the ear. Next disease is Putikern, a discharge of condensed and fetid pus, whether accompanied or not with pain, is set up by the local mucus accumulation in the passage of the ear, having been liquefied by the heat of the aggravated pith. This disease is called Putikern or pus in the ear. The symptoms of swelling, shove, tumors, harbut, and polypoid growth, ursha, in general, as has been described before, should be carefully understood by an experienced physician to be the symptoms of these diseases in the region of the ear. So here completes the session of Kern Road. Thank you so much. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it soon. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Hame Kusha Kushro video. I am GVN Dr. Minakshi, Assistant Professor in Department of Shalakyatantra, Faculty of Ayurvedic Science, ज्योति विद्यापीठ विमेंस यूनिवर्सिटी। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है न्यूप्लाज्म ऑफ सलाइवरी ग्लैंड्स। इससे पहले वाली वीडियोस में हमने डिस्कस किया था द नॉन न्यूप्लास्टिक डिसऑर्डर ऑफ सलाइवरी ग्लैंड्स, और आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे न्यूप्लाज्म ऑफ सलाइवरी ग्लैंड्स। इससे पहले हम डिस्कस कर चुके हैं बिनाइन ट्यूमर्स, आज डिस्कस करेंगे मलिग्नेंट ट्यूमर्स। सबसे पहले है म्यूको एपिडर्मोइड कार्सिनोमा। Some pathologists do not consider it to be malignant and call it mucoepidermoid tumor and not cancer, but it is known to metastasize and kill. Generally, it is slow growing but can invade the facial nerve. Histologically, there are areas of mucin producing cells and the squamous cells, and hence the name. Greater the epidermoid elements, more malignant is the behavior of the tumor. The tumors have been classified as low grade and high grade. The low grade tumors have good prognosis, whereas the high grade tumors have the poor prognosis. Low grade tumors are more common in children, whereas in high grade tumors there is no such predisposition. Low grade tumors are less aggressive, whereas the high grade tumors are more aggressive. Then comes the treatment part. The treatment of low grade tumors is superficial or total parotidiectomy, depending on the location of the tumor. Facial nerve is preserved in case of low grade tumors. The treatment of high grade tumor is total parotidiectomy, and facial nerve can be sacrificed if invaded by the tumor. Some surgeons also combine radical neck dissection because of high incidence of microscopic spread of the tumor. Here is an image of the mucoepidermoid carcinoma. Next malignant tumor is adenoid cystic carcinoma. It is slow growing tumor but infiltrates widely into the tissue planes and muscles. It also invades perineural spaces and lymphatics and thus causes pain and seventh nerve paralysis. It can metastasize to lymph nodes. Local recurrences after surgical excision are common and can occur as late as 10 to 20 years after surgery. Distant metastases go to the lung, brain and bone. The treatment of adenoid cystic carcinoma is radical parotidiectomy with largest cuff of grossly normal tissue around the boundaries of the tumor. Radical neck is not done unless nodal metastases are present. Post-operative radiation is given if margins of the resected specimen are not free of tumor. Here is an image of the adenocystic carcinoma of hard palate. Next malignant tumor is actinic cell carcinoma. It is a low-grade tumor which appears similar to a benign mixed tumor. It presents as a small, firm, movable and encapsulated tumor, sometimes bilateral. Metastases are rare. Treatment of actinic cell carcinoma is superficial or total parotidectomy. Here is an image of the actinic cell carcinoma. Next malignant tumor is adenocarcinoma. More often it arises in minor salivary glands and it is highly aggressive locally and sends distant metastases. The next malignant tumor is malignant mixed tumor. There are two varieties of this tumor. First is carcinoma developing in pre-existing benign mixed tumor, and second is a de novo tumor. The latter has much shorter history. Rapid growth and pain developing in a benign tumor should always arouse a suspicion of malignant change. Treatment of malignant mixed tumor is radical parotidectomy. Facial nerve sacrifice during operation is grafted immediately. Next malignant tumor is squamous cell carcinoma. It is rapidly growing tumor that infiltrates, causes pain and ulcerates through the skin. It can metastasize to neck nodes. Treatment of squamous cell carcinoma is radical parotidectomy, which may include cuff of muscle or even a portion of mandible, temporal bone and the involved skin. Radical neck is combined if nodal metastases are present. Surgery is followed by post-operative radiation to primary site and the neck. Here is an image of the squamous cell carcinoma. The next malignant tumor is undifferentiated carcinoma. It is rare but aggressive tumor. It has a tendency to spread rapidly, causes pain, becomes fixed to skin and ulcerated. It causes facial paralysis and cervical nodal metastasis. Treatment of undifferentiated carcinoma is wide excision, radical neck and post-operative radiation. The next malignant tumor is lymphoma. It is a rare tumor usually associated with systemic disease but may occasionally be a primary tumor. Treatment is same as that for other lymphomas. Next malignant tumor is sarcoma. Rarely other sarcomas, for example, rhabdomyosarcoma may arise from the parotid. Next malignant tumor is Fraze syndrome. Fraze syndrome arises as a complication of parotid surgery, usually manifesting several months after the operation. Clinical features of Fraze syndrome are sweating and flushing of the preauricular skin during mastication, causing nuisance to the person or social embarrassment. It is a result of apparent innervation of sweat glands by parasympathetic secretomotor fibers which were destined for the parotid gland. Here is an image. You can see in the normal case the innervations. In the lower image of Fraze syndrome, you can see the parasympathetic innervation to the sweat glands which were designed for the destined for the parotid gland. Here is an image of the Fraze syndrome gustatory swelling. Now instead of causing salivary secretions from the parotid, they cause secretion from the sweat glands. The condition can be treated by tympanic neurectomy, which intercepts these parasympathetic fibers at the level of middle ear. Some people like to place a sheet of fascia lata between the skin and the underlying fat to prevent secretomotor fibers reaching the sweat glands. Subcutaneous infiltration of botulinum toxin has also been used to alleviate the symptoms. Generally, no treatment other than reassurance is required in most of these patients. Thank you. This session is powered by Digital Version 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. I hope you are satisfied with my digital session. If you have any query, Please mention in the comment box. I will resolve it. Thank you so much.